Subscribe to Selby is Godcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Unbelievable. Nope. Got it wrong.
Got it wrong. What?
Got it wrong. This is the Schneeman is Godcast. Welcome.
You got me. Hook, line, and sinker. I mean, he did end up on the same list as the name of this show. And I even saw a stat that listed him with Babe Ruth. What was this weekend? What was I watching?
The fact, I mean, them taking 2 of 3 the way they did, every win they have is like a complete pressure cooker down to the last pitch. You're holding your breath if you're a fan of either side. But then when they lose, like, I know Friday night they lost a close one, but usually when they lose, it's like, they're down 8-1 in the 5th, and you're trying to figure out which position player might pitch. So but they've had more of the close wins than the ugly losses. So it's, I guess it's working.
If you like adventure, if you like high drama, if you like your heart rate increasing without you having to leave your couch, this was certainly the series for you. I mean, the opener, they had it right down to the end. And of course, they're in that position because they don't have all their top relievers ready to go. They want to do what we've been talking about, what many of our listeners have been talking about. You can't keep running these guys into the ground. So they exercised a little bit of restraint with guys like Cade Smith and Emmanuel Clase. And so you can't just keep going to these guys every single night. It turns out it bit them in the opener. Would they have won that game if all those other guys had pitched? I don't know. But you know what? Would the Guardians have won game 2 if the Blue Jays had allowed their normal closer to pitch? I don't know the answers to these things. There wasn't a lot of offense leading up to that moment, unless you're talking about Daniel Schneeman. What a series for this man. And you know what? More proof why people need to come listen to the Patreon show, because we could just replay everything we talked about on that show. We talked about him barreling the ball a lot more this season. And that has happened. He had 6 barrels all of last year, which is the perfect combination, the ideal combination of exit velocity and launch angle. Pretty much you're almost guaranteed to get a meaningful base hit when you get one of those barrels, and it really irks you when you don't. He had 6 of them last year. He has 9 of them this year, and he had 3 of them in one game, including a pair of home runs and a grand slam go-ahead variety. What a weekend for this man, and he wasn't done. He comes back in the finale. He still has another RBI base hit of that bat that is now at an 896 OPS. Wow.
It's funny to think back on, I was going to say the spring training competition at second base and how Schneeman was sort of an afterthought. Like I remember I had in my first roster projection back at the start of spring training, I had him on the team as a utility guy, and I thought that was the safest bet of pretty much anybody. Like, he just seemed destined to, they love his versatility, they like him against certain right-handers hitting fastballs, and it seemed like no matter what he did in the spring, that was going to be his role. And you kept hearing about Brito and Arias, and it's fun, and a little bit of Martinez. It's funny how Schneeman is like the guy you want up at the plate, right? I mean, there's Kwan and there's Ramirez and maybe Manzardo, but like Schneeman, like, you just know he's going to give you a good at bat. And he got off to a really rough start. I think he was like 1 for 19 maybe to start the season. He's been incredible for the last, 3-4 weeks. So it's crazy how this stuff evolves, right? And like what we're seeing now, I mean, everyone was excited about what Rocchio could do after that playoff performance, and now everybody wants him in Columbus. Angel Martinez didn't make the team, and now all he's done since he came up is hit. So this stuff is just so fluid. Arias obviously has sort of rewritten the script here, and he had another nice day on Sunday. But it's Schneeman. Maybe Schneeman should hit second.
It's Schneeman. It's always been Schneeman. 28-year-old Daniel Schneeman. And you know what? You can't argue with anything. I mean, the results are there. But it's also backed up under the hood by a lot of great stuff. I mean, go look at his Baseball Savant page. It's actually littered with red. which is not something you even would have expected. Now, he had made changes before to become a more legitimate player. It goes beyond even what you talked about on Patreon, that he really got on their radar as being one of those guys you trust in spring training. They take it down to the end, kind of like Wilson, right? Will Wilson this spring, and you thought this is a guy we will see eventually. Ernie Clement, I kind of think, followed a similar route where it's just he's a not a
Mike
veteran,
Freeman,
but he is a guy that has been around the major leagues or minor leagues for so long, and you can trust him, and he's a good character guy. He's a good glue guy. He can play all these positions. Maybe he can swing the bat a little bit. And so he emerges in the season, and he ends up playing a little bit in the postseason. You know, your favorite statistic is that he even started a game in the ALCS. But he's come back this year, and the barrel percentage has been good. I was looking at his not only just the expected weighted on base average, which was great entering today, top. I don't have a percentage here because he hasn't played enough, but it's a lot of red at 379. And then I was looking at, like, okay, so we're seeing the barrels increase. What's the reason for that? I've seen those little lightning bolts next to his swings a number of times on Savant, which indicates a fast swing, which is greater than 75 miles per hour. But he wasn't a guy that had, like, the greatest bat speed. Wasn't awful last year. It is up this year, but what I'm seeing is the fast swing rate is at almost 20% entering today. And is this a guy that's just learning, I'm going to get off my A swing here when I see a pitch that I like. And if it results in some swing and miss, that's fine, because I'm going to impact the ball. Whatever the reason is, it's working out so well for him so far.
I think, look, to make a blanket statement here, I think a philosophy that has spread throughout, and not just the organization, but I think baseball is, and it goes back to all the cliches. Know thyself. Don't try to do too much, right? And it's, if you have a grasp of the strike zone and plate discipline, and we hear about swing decisions constantly, and if you can excel at those things and you control the zone, you're going to more often than not be able to get a pitch that you can damage. And so it's a mindset shift where it's, don't offer at that stuff that you know you can't hit hard. And if you can be patient enough, what did we see with Schneeman on Saturday? Both pitches he hit out were like 95-mile-an-hour fastballs, kind of up a little bit inside part of the plate. That's his nitro zone. We see it with Stephen Kwan all the time. I think you're seeing Kyle Manzardo go through it right now too, where he's having to learn that pitchers are going to throw him junk. They're going to throw him off-speed stuff away, and he's got to learn, and he did a great job of this on Sunday. Don't try to pull that over the fence. Take it the other way, hit it to center field, accept your singles. And then eventually like Kwan does such a good job of either doing that or fouling it off to the point where you work the count and then you get that fastball inside that you can hammer. So for Schneeman, like, I know there were swing changes and looking to launch the ball a little more. And you saw that going into the season ahead of last year when he was invited to spring training, and they were like, they had some tempered excitement for him because of the changes he had made. And then in spring training, everything panned out, goes back to Columbus, still crushing everything. And then he came up and hasn't looked back. And I think you're just seeing a more confident hitter who has evidence, like the changes you've made are working. And I think a big thing for him is just his at-bats have been so good. You know, I actually want to talk about that a little bit, and we don't have to do that yet, but it's not even just making a pitcher work to drive up the pitch count, but it's making a pitcher work until they just have to cave. Like Jose Ramirez has done this for a decade, but everybody knows the scouting reports. Pitchers know what pitches hitters want to hit, and hitters know what pitches pitchers want to throw. And someone has to blink first. And if you're a hitter who can be patient and can pick up on spin or understand what pitches are going to, result in weak contact, you have the advantage. And I think with Schneeman, it's taken a while maybe, but he's sort of solved what could make him a good hitter.
It's not only that we're seeing him take more impactful, meaningful, or more vicious cuts, but he's doing the thing you're talking about where he's being more selective. And I can see that, he's swinging through still a lot of pitches. He's still got a 27% strikeout rate. But, I mean, that's fine if you also are bringing the barrel rate. If when you're making contact, it's going a long way. It's resulting in doubles, home runs, but also, Zach, the fact that he still has a 10% walk rate. So it's not sacrificing any sort of selectiveness. It actually is being more selective on the swings that you're taking. And if you swing through it, it's the thing that Kwan talked about. You have to be comfortable with swinging and missing sometimes. And he is a guy that, yes, is going to swing and miss. But when I make contact, I want it to be good. Like, I'm going to swing hard in case I hit it. But it's not coming with sacrificing any bit of patience. He's still willing to do it. He's just trying to funnel those balls into the part of the zone that he can do damage. Is this a sustainable thing? I mean, how can we know that? But does it need to matter today when they're just looking for an answer today in that middle infield?
Did you ever play home run derby in the neighborhood when you were a kid?
Never. We would never do that.
Thinking about how you'd swing out of your shoes. You would swing as hard as you could, thinking, this is the way to hit that house down the street with that crotchety old neighbor. That's not the way to do it. Stephen Kwan has the lowest bat speed in the league. First percentile, 63 miles an hour. But you understand your body. Like, they're so big on biomechanics now and like getting in what they call the capture cage, where you're taking swings and they've got so many cameras on you, and then you can watch all these breakdowns, and that's how you learn, like, what pitches can I handle? What pitches, even though I don't swing the bat hard, Stephen Kwan knows, because as he says, he has shorter limbs, he can get around on that inside fastball, and he's going to put the barrel on it, and he can hit it out of the park. So it's understanding who you are. And I think Schneeman just has such a better handle on that than he did maybe a few years ago.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are ready to anoint him the guy that makes you forget about Travis Bazzana anytime soon, or even Juan Brito anytime soon. But again, that doesn't need to matter. He can just exist now doing whatever this is, and I don't need to figure out what it is. The only answer to me is, every day, does he show up worthy of getting the at-bats? Then I'm just going to keep putting him in the lineup. And right now, like, Brian Rocchio is not deserving of those at-bats. He's nearing an 0 for 20 stretch here, where he gets called on to lay down a sacrifice bunt. He can't even execute that. And that's problematic, but that's his own thing. Right now, Gabby Arias deserves the at-bats. Angel Martinez deserves the at-bats. In right field, that's a different animal, still waiting for someone to emerge there. But you know what? Daniel Schneeman deserves to have his name written in the lineup every single day. And that, to me, is all you need to answer for on May 4th, May 5th, whatever that you're listening to this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because these guys are all in a similar spot in their careers where you're trying to establish yourself as a big leaguer. It's different when Bazzana eventually comes up, if it's this year, if it's next year, whatever. He was the first overall pick. Like, you're going to ride with him. And maybe, a lot of top prospects have to go down to AAA at some point, but you're going to have more patience with someone like that. Whereas, all these guys right now have had major league experience, and you're trying to win. This is what we talk about all the time, balancing winning and development. Well, I think you have to favor winning at this point. And, because these guys are all in similar spots, it's whoever's playing the best. Which is crazy, because Schneeman was not one of those middle infielders they had stockpiled for years and years that we were waiting to see, or wondering if they were going to trade somebody. But he's the current leader.
Fine. I mean, we talk about quite consistently how development is never this linear path that happens at the same rate for everybody. Sometimes guys come up in their career, start late. Some guys just have a nice stretch in their age 27, 28 season, and it never replicates ever again. Some people become just a guy that's capable of doing this for a small stretch. No one's going to build their entire lineup around a Daniel Schneeman, but I mean, you just take it. Good teams have to have these things pop up now and again. You take advantage of it. You ride it for as long as it lasts. And I don't think you show up maybe next year thinking, well, this is not a position you need to think about anymore, because Daniel Schneeman is the answer. Now you can start trading the pieces away out of the middle infield. I don't know if you need to walk that path at this point, but again, it doesn't need to matter. Today, you just need to show up and win the game. And Stephen Vogt needs to write a lineup that he thinks can win that game. Right now, Daniel Schneeman is part of it. As surprising as that is, you ride it for as long as it lasts.
So I thought, they could not touch Kevin Gausman on Saturday. That guy, just off the top of my head, it feels like he owns them. That guy, maybe just any pitcher who bread and butter is like that splitter or changeup. But I thought the at-bats were so good toward the end. Obviously, Schneeman hits the home run in the 8th, and then in the 9th, Kwan singles, Jones strikes out on a pitch, borderline, but probably something you got to swing at with 2 strikes. Santana walks, Manzardo strikes out, Bo Naylor walks, and there's so much that's beneficial when you're seeing that many pitches, when you're making a pitcher work, and more than anything, and that's what I think this team, when they are excelling at the plate, because don't get me wrong, like there are major holes in this lineup. They need more talent on offense, but for them to squeeze as much as they can out of this group, like when they're at their best, it's what we saw all day Sunday. And it's just drawing walks, being annoying. And it's something that Kwan does every single game. And I think we've been waiting for more guys to do that. And like Sunday, they drew 8 walks. When Carlos Santana is looking like typical patient Carlos Santana, that is such a benefit. Kyle Manzardo had those 2 singles where, again, not trying to do too much. And then also walked
on the
twice. Heels
of a really awful game for him.
Mm-hmm. So that's when this offense is going to be at its best. And, I think Schneeman has been someone who's done that, as you pointed out this year. I think Gabriel Arias has had stretches where he's been more patient and has looked for his pitch. Angel Martinez, I don't know if that's in his DNA, but as long as he's going to keep slapping singles all over the place, you don't worry about it. But I don't know. It just looked like it's kind of, Toronto did this to Gavin Williams on Saturday, and they did it a little bit to Tanner Bybee on Sunday. But, if you were a Blue Jays pitcher on Sunday, it just, after the 3rd inning, that would have been terribly annoying to have to face.
And when they're doing that and they're not getting the results, it still makes it easier to be more patient and say the right things are happening below the surface, even if the contact isn't great or what. But if you're seeing the pitches and you're making the pitchers work, I feel like that's half the battle. And I don't like when they just sit back and start waiting for home runs. I don't think they can survive that way, even with a little bit more power in this lineup. I appreciate when they are having the good at-bats. Even Arias today, you mentioned we're seeing occasionally a little bit more patience from him. And in the past, he's done it, but I think we've had the conversation, is it necessarily patience or is it just being passive? And I always thought that when he was being patient and drawing the walks, it was because he just is sitting there with the bat on his shoulder, not really making a swing decision. The only decision is, I'm not going to swing. I'm going to try to walk. This year, I haven't seen a lot of that, but there's still been patience. I understand a guy like Arias is going to make some silly swing decisions at times. And he's got an interesting enough skill set where he's probably going to be able to do damage on pitches where he has a bad swing. Maybe it keeps him from getting to his high-end power. But today, he has the 3 hits, which, great, right? 3 hits, driving a couple of runs. Fantastic. I actually was really encouraged by the strike 3. And it was one that was a borderline pitch, breaking ball, like perfect pitch.
There were a lot
right
of borderline pitches on Sunday. And
Clase, that one, even in the 9th inning, was a handful, felt like. Could have gone for a strike 3. But he had a ball where if he's thinking other way and looking for that pitch, maybe he can shoot it towards the hole. But it's going to be tough to do anything of real damage with a pitch like that. And if he's seeing it and seeing that it's a borderline pitch on the corner and it's pinned like right there on the edge, you could not have placed it any better. And he let that go. I know the conventional wisdom here has always been, well, don't put it in the umpire's hands. So if it's close enough, you got to swing at it. And maybe, but I think over the years, I think I gain an appreciation for if you think it's a ball, don't swing the bat. Trust your eye, trust your process that got you to be in this position. So I was encouraged as much as you can be encouraged by taking a strike 3 by him because that pitch could have gone either way, 50-50 ball, especially today, where that strike zone on the edge, you were just not getting the call. So I came away encouraged by that, and he overcame. Arias himself had a couple of rotten games, and he's overcome that a little bit. So I found that encouraging. Take that for what it is.
So the best at bat I saw all weekend was Anthony Santander on Sunday. 12-pitch walk against Bybee. And kind of what you're saying, I mean, you look at the strike zone on game day, and there are at least 3 pitches he fouled off that were not in the strike zone, even that strike zone. And so an incredible job of, I mean, Bybee went cutter, fastball, sweeper, sinker, fastball, cutter, changeup, sweeper, fastball. I mean, he threw him everything he had. And
kitchen sink. What?
Yeah, the ability to foul stuff off, like those pitches where if you put it in play, you're not getting anything out of it. But if you can just foul it off, you get a leg up on the pitcher. That was the best at bat I saw. The second best at bat I saw.
It took an inning out of Bybee's.
Yeah.
I mean, that might have led to the cramping later in the game.
I don't know. Cramped up watching it. The second best at bat I saw over the weekend is one that is not going to get any attention because it resulted in a 2-out single. Cleveland's first hit on Saturday, and they're only hit for a little while. But Stephen Kwan with just like a clinic on what makes him good. And like what every aspiring big league hitter should try to do. And so he took a slider, and again, like they couldn't touch Gausman, but he took a slider low and then fouled off 4 straight pitches, 2 splitters, and then 2 fastballs. And it's so important because what makes him good, Gausman, is the fastball and splitter look like the same pitch. The fastball's coming 96 to 98 in this at bat. And the splitter looks the exact same until it drops at the last second because it's only 87 to 89. So Kwan being able to just stay alive and spoil these pitches until he gets one in a spot that he likes is so impressive. Takes a splitter low, or takes a splitter way outside for ball. So it's 2-2. Then he gets a fastball like belt high, but on the outside corner, and he's able to foul that off. That's one where it's like, what were you going to do with that anyway? Then he fouls off a pitch inside off the plate. Like, again, like the ability to just spoil pitches all over the place. One of the fastballs he fouled off was like at his neck in the middle of the zone. Takes a splitter low. That's another pitch where Gausman's thinking like, well, you'll see that it's a fastball. You'll swing over this. Works the count full, and then gets a splitter way off the plate outside. But Kwan makes contact and is able to just fight it off into left field for a base hit. And it's incredible. Like, Gausman wasn't going to give in. 2 outs, nobody on, hasn't allowed a hit yet. Like, if he walks Kwan, not the end of the world. So he's not going to throw him a fastball in the zone where Kwan can certainly turn that into extra bases maybe. So throws him a splitter, misses with it, and Kwan's still able to spray it to left field. Like, that guy, I don't know. He is mesmerizing to watch at the plate to me. And I just think back to conversations we had going into the 2022 season where we were like, oh, wonder if this guy could like get a cup of coffee in the majors and be kind of interesting. And it's like, I don't know. He continues to exceed my expectations.
I mean, one of the best at his craft, or what he does specifically, maybe the best. I mean, everyone points to Arise being the batting average sort of king that stands out in a game that's not really about that anymore. But Kwan is a different animal. I don't see Arise and Kwan being the same, other than most of their hits are, going to be high average, going to be singles. Obviously, Kwan brings more of that patience aspect, and his knowledge of the strike zone is just I can't believe some of the decisions he makes to spit on certain things, and what you're talking about, just an ability to spoil and make a pitcher have to dig deep into their bag of tricks. If you leave something over the plate, is he going to hit a home run? Probably not. You don't fear him in the same way that you would an Aaron Judge, certainly. But it's just a different animal. And like we were saying with the Santander at bat, that took perhaps an inning out of Bybee's day, So how often does Kwan get you to the bullpen more soon? How frequently does he take something out of a pitcher enough that later in the game that helps you out? It's tough to quantify that, but you know that it's there. We see it with our eyes every single time we watch this man play. So I love gushing about the sort of game that he has because he's so different. I think we're so blessed. Jose Ramirez is so different. He's so good and has been so good at so many things throughout his career. There are not a lot of players like him, and we've gotten to watch that over the years. Stephen Kwan, again, we're blessed to be able to watch a hitter like this because he's so unlike what every other hitter in the game is like. And we get to see these sorts of profiles and attributes on a nightly basis. I love that aspect of it.
Get a couple more hitters in there, and lineup could be pretty interesting.
What, you want more Daniel Schneemans? I mean, how much help does Daniel Schneeman need? If you look at this weekend, not enough.
Should he be hitting second right now?
I don't think it's Nolan. I don't think Nolan Jones is the answer.
I agree.
I'm done with the battle of Jose should hit second. Clearly, Jose doesn't like it or whatever. So it's not worth having this fight. So the next thing is who should hit second, and I think there's something to vote liking having like a, I don't even know how to phrase, like a transitional player in that spot where it's like it could be the guy that's in there to beat the pitcher, or you could then easily go to one of your best weapons off the bench in that 2-hole, like we saw it some with Lane Thomas at least last year too, where it's like that's a spot where it could easily be a pinch hitter in your best spot to get your best guy off the bench.
The Manzardo-Fry combination last year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a better answer than Schneeman right now, but maybe you like having him at the turn of the lineup down lower. I don't know. I don't think Nolan Jones is the answer, though.
Yeah, I don't know what you do in right field. You just keep doing this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I believe this is the only this is going to be as simple as I can make it. I believe in Nolan Jones's profile, so I'm just going to keep running it out there. I think if you hit the ball hard with some walks, you're going to eventually find a nice stretch.
Yeah. Him being out of options just maybe simplifies this. Because you don't want to bail on him yet. I wouldn't.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. No.
And especially since you gave up an asset for him. Like, you did that knowing you were in this for the long haul.
I think I have not seen enough that it's like I want to kick him to the curb. I'm just going to keep running him out there. Now, it's not going to be in the 2-hole, I don't think, but I'm going to keep running him out there because I think it's going to be worthwhile in the end. And if it's not, then I feel like I did what I needed to do. The process was right. I just didn't get the right result.
Let's say Lane Thomas comes back in a week or 5 days or something. Who are you sending down?
Brian Rocchio. I mean, it could be Wilson, I guess.
Kind of like Rocchio. Let him play every day at AAA.
It's an easy thing to sell to everybody. Yeah, we
Play
don't
Martinez
have
more on the infield.
Right, we don't have the regular at-bat. Like, it becomes more of an indictment of, it's just we have too many bodies instead of an actual indictment on the player, which it really is if you're watching this. But I mean, what, not only in performance, but what in body language would indicate that he's like he's close?
Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
And I think we'd certainly understand it.
Were you surprised Miles Straw batted in a key situation there with the game on the line? I feel like I've seen that before.
Glad you brought that up. I actually wrote it down, and I texted you this. I feel like I've seen that plate appearance 1,000 times by him. With a runner at third base, less than 2 outs, how many times did we see that guy shallow pop out to second base or right field?
Think any Blue Jays writers are asking about... Although they were limited on the bench, though. You know, this wasn't Straw batting with the bases loaded and 4 guys sitting there waiting with a bat in their hand.
I mean, hey, he's been swinging the bat okay for them
He
so
has,
far this
he
year.
has.
Making some good defensive plays in this series as well. That had happened too. So you saw kind of what what you need, why you have Straw on your team. It's not to be at the plate with a big spot.
It was a nice weekend for Andres Jimenez. 5 hits, stolen base, a couple defensive gems.
Yeah. Got to get that 570 OPS up. So do it some against the Guardians. And starting off the chaos in the 9th inning with this little dribbler that Clase throws. Clase, what are you doing? Just eat it and get the double play the next time. Like, what?
Who are the worst fielding pitchers you've ever watched? Fausto Carmona and then Clase?
It might,
Is that it?
It might be. That's brutal. Like Chris Perez, was he really bad? I feel like Perez was susceptible to things like
when he wasn't vomiting.
Like those slow dribblers, and we're going to throw it down the first base line. I could be just totally misremembering there.
Rafi Perez?
I have no recollection of the sort of fielder he was. I do have we don't have to spend too much time on this. Nathan Lucas comes up and has the big hit in the opener that ends up coming back to bite his former organization, right? And you're like, what? By now, I'm sure everyone realizes he was in the Brandon Guyer trade. So this is a guy that's 30 years old, has had a couple of years prior to this, has not really blossomed or anything like that. But he comes back to beat his former team that gave up on him back in 2016. What is
to a different organization?
Yeah, you're right. What's the statute of limitations here on feeling bad about a guy that you gave up on coming back to get you? I mean, it can't be a 30-year-old who's now with a new team that you didn't trade him to. It's not this, right?
Well, I think the guy who the rule should be named after is Gio Urshela. Because remember, everyone was frustrated that they bailed on him, but they forget that he went to the Blue Jays, then the Yankees. But even, I think at some point he was DFA'd by one of those teams and cleared waivers and then got called back up and then blossomed for the Yankees a few years later. I mean, come on. So I that one, there are layers to this. You can't be mad about Jesus Aguilar having one 800 OPS season for the Brewers when you didn't have a spot for him. You had Carlos Santana and Edwin Encarnacion. What did you want? So I feel like that gets done far too often, that bit. A lot of times isn't it Cleveland usually benefiting more anyway? But every single team, go look at the outfielders that the St. Louis Cardinals have bailed on over the years.
Yeah.
Every team deals with this. But no, in this case, that's several standard deviations away from fair.
Mean, you marveled at Ernie Clement's season last year and his WAR total. How about Lucas with a 1.2 wins above replacement season last year with Toronto? A 132 OPS plus, and then this year he's coming into today a 117 OPS plus. Yeah, I don't think he
did. He go to the Schneeman school of late bloomers? I mean, the guy's
maybe even later.
He's almost 31.
Incredible. Well, from guys that are late bloomers to ones we want them to bloom right now, Gavin Williams becomes a bit of a conundrum to figure out. There's so much good and there's so much bad. And it's yes, start to start, it's been good, bad, but also within the starts that are bad, there is good. How do you have the strikeout totals and miss bats as consistently while also walking a small village and giving up lots of hits and pitching around traffic? It's frustrating, but it's also a tease. It's enticing enough. I'm the good is in there. I swear it'll bubble to the surface if you just keep letting this guy pitch.
Oh, TJ, you have Danny Salazar syndrome. Oh, man.
Yeah, but see, this
they
guy
don't have
can
medication for
hit
that
100. Yet. Salazar came back and hit 82 with his first. Remember that first pitch was 82, and everyone's why did he start with his changeup? Nope.
Yeah, but he was pumping 100 against the Rays in the wild card game once upon a time. Yeah, I mean, so the first mistake Gavin Williams made was going long sleeves because it looked like he was just wiping sweat off his face the entire start. And if I were uncomfortable and had that on the back of my mind, I don't think I would be able to throw strikes.
I will always support the long sleeve shirt under the short sleeve shirt. Always layer up.
Yeah, it's you could tell he got mad and just started pumping 100, and it's like, just do that. Just get mad and blow up by guys. Like, there were some third strikes that were like, this dude should be like starting the All-Star game. And then there was a lot of, stop nibbling. You look like you've never thrown your off-speed stuff for a strike in your life. Like, you're right. I started thinking at one point during the outing, like, man, this guy's going to be an incredible closer. It's just, the stuff is there. You see it, and it is just a matter of consistency. And I think the frustrating thing is, we've said this all year. It's been good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, bad. But within the bad, you still see reasons why it should be good next time.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that is difficult, maybe, because I've heard from people who've said, you got to send him to Columbus. You got to do this, that. Look, I just watched a spring training where this guy blew away everybody. And all his pitches looked great. No one could touch him. And so we were all hyping him up and saying, this guy's going to be awesome. You send him to Columbus, what's he going to do? He's going to blow away everybody. He's going to, overmatch hitters with his stuff. And I don't think it's going to teach you much. I think he needs to be around Carl Willis, and he's just got to figure it out. But the road here is painful. And we've seen this with Danny Salazar. We've seen this with Trevor Bauer. We've seen this with Carlos Carrasco, where it's all right there. We all see it. He has the look and the stuff of a legitimate starting pitcher, but that's going to fall on deaf ears. Like, go out and prove it. Look good for more than one start in a row. And then maybe we can buy back in.
I just feel like the stuff is too good for this to be something that doesn't eventually become a really good starter. I think as soon as this year, maybe even as soon as his next few outings. I don't get the send him to Columbus thing yet. I don't think we're anywhere close to that. I mean, the strikeouts, he is striking out more people, a higher percentage than his first 2 years in the major leagues, but also the walks. He had a 10.7 in his rookie year, 9.6% last year, 13% this year, with over 5 walks per 9 innings. And this is not a guy that's ever really had to struggle with that. I was looking at the Stuff Plus numbers, so I was just curious. I think the stuff looks good. The velocity certainly looks good. The fastball is like around league average in Stuff Plus at a 99. The slider is as good as it was in his rookie year. The curveball is better than at any point in his career with a 110 Stuff Plus number. And overall, his Stuff Plus number is better than his rookie year and last year. It's a 103 now, so it's consistently above average, just looking at all of them. The one difference, he had a 104 location plus in his rookie year, a 103 last year, and an 85 this year. I just think he's not locating at all, but the stuff is incredible. I think you just keep running him out there, and so that they can work through mechanically what they need to clean up, and this guy's going to eventually he's just going to explode in the best way, not in a bad way.
Tell you what, if I'm the leadoff hitter of the next team he faces, I'm going to guess he's not going to throw a first pitch fastball, because the leadoff hitter is teed off on him 2 straight games. So maybe he needs to mix it up a little more. It's what you're saying is it's evident by the eye test too, isn't it? Every inning is just a slog. He is laboring through every at bat because he can't get ahead of hitters. He can't put them away. And he's just like, that's what I mean about the long sleeves, man. You have to work so hard. You're going to be sweating your ass off when you're done. It's tough. Like, there's no efficiency, but I'm with you. Like, you just have to gut through it, I think.
I think it's worth it. I think in the end, and maybe we've just been spoiled by so many guys that come up and just take off. Like Tanner Bybee, we can be spoiled by that. Shane Bieber, we were certainly spoiled by that. And over the years, there have been those just success stories that took off and never wavered off of that. I think we forget that this is a process for every young pitcher. You normally expect them to come up, have some success, then get kicked around a little bit, and it's the guys that stick around and really emerge that just keep making those changes and finally figure out how to blend the stuff with everything else you need to learn at this level. And I think he's capable of it. I really do. And it's really simple to just say, if you miss bats and you strike out a lot of guys, that's enough. It's clearly not enough, but like you can't accidentally strike out as many guys as he does and be a bad pitcher. I just don't buy that.
Yeah. They don't have a choice. Like his upside is too high for them to even take a break from him. Especially when you think about the replacements, it's like, well, Doug Nikhazy is not a guy who's got that sort of upside anyway.
I don't think you need to, though. I don't.
No, I'm with
you.
I'm with you.
I don't get that, and I'm not yelling at you, but I'm
Stop
not
yelling
at that
at
point.
me.
I'm not at that point. I mean, yes, I'd love to give all the flowers in the world to Colby Allard, who saved their butts in that start with Gavin Williams, and he's done it now twice. Why does this guy just keep coming up and saving the day for them and kind of just an unsung hero? But the real reason why they came back to win that game is because of that performance by him.
But isn't it a breath of fresh air, too? A guy who just comes in and attacks, throws strikes, makes it look easy. What did he need to get through his 4 innings? Gavin needed 100 pitches, and Colby Allard needed half that. Yeah, 53. So,
it's just the differentiation between the two that helps him succeed.
Yeah,
I mean, they're blown away by someone that's now going to attack the strike zone.
Well, the Blue Jays are probably in the dugout saying, guys, just this guy can't find the strike zone. Just be super patient here. And then they forgot to update the game plan in the 5th inning, and Allard just breezed through 4 innings.
It was nice. We got one really good Class A outing, and then we had the finale. Where I was really hoping we were just going to get the 1, 2, 3 again. We can put this to bed. And then it was more of the 2013 variety of the errors starting things off, and then there's the base hit, and now there's a sac fly, and it felt like that was all unraveling. And even I think a few short weeks ago, this game's probably they might still be playing. I was encouraged by that didn't end it for him. He made the pitches he needed to, and then that Springer plate appearance. How about the fact we've been screaming about, hey, maybe pitch inside and then go off the plate with the slider, and maybe you'll trick them. Maybe they won't be able to figure out the speed differentiation or the location. And he did that. And he struck out Springer to end the game. That was like what I've been begging for from him. A lot of hard stuff in, and then you're getting used to that velocity, and then finally he goes with the slider way off the edge of the strike zone. Springer swings through it, and that's the ball game. And it's not the perfect outing. It had the heart rate up way more than it needed to be. But his recovery within the outing was encouraging to me, maybe in a different way than the 1, 2, 3 was the day before.
Yeah, I thought his stuff was good, and the location was fine. Just field your position, and like the base hit by Bichette, like that was really good hitting. He took 99, went the other way. Pitch was up in the zone. Now, I think there's been a little too much of that, where if it's going to be up in the zone, it needs to be up. I did think that pitch was. So I maybe you missed your spot by a tiny bit, and it resulted in opposite field single. Like that's good hitting. But like Guerrero to take an 0-2 pitch and hit it the other way for a sac fly, like that's, again, I didn't have an issue with him. Just field your position. You said it like that. He was in control of that Springer at bat. There was a pitch earlier in the at bat, I think, that wasn't called a strike that should have been. So he's looked a lot better. There's still a little bit of that 2023-ness in him.
Yeah.
And you just have to hope to survive that. You know, the bad bounces, the defensive lapses, whatever it's going to be. And it's important for him too. You know, he needs to not, like, he got behind Santander 3-0. And that was going to be, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, like, look, it's one thing if you make a bad defensive play. It's one thing if, like, Bichette, tip your cap, fine. But in an outing like that, where you're kind of walking the tightrope, you cannot allow free base runners. Don't let them, don't beat yourself. Like, you're already, like, playing with fire here. And so for him to fight back, and he made a couple really nice pitches with the cutter in, and then actually a third one got Santander to ground out. So I the way he fought back, and that at bat was huge. Like if he walks, and then all of a sudden, first and second with one out, Springer up. Who knows? I just with him pitching, it's like every ground ball is an adventure. So I thought overall like he's looked a lot better, and you see too just when he's able to shut down the ninth inning, the bullpen, like Cade Smith got to face the top of their order in the seventh inning, and that was key because also Gaddis gets to face the bottom of the order, didn't have his best stuff. If he's facing the top of the order instead, maybe he gives up a run, and as you said, they're still playing. So it's those little things. Like they are squeezing by these teams. Allard saves the bullpen. Those guys are all fresh Sunday. You win both games. The way that they were able to use the relievers, like it worked out perfectly when it certainly didn't have to play out that way. It was a tight game. So this is what they've been doing well the last couple of weeks for the most part. And it's crazy. I mean, they're 20-14 and you're like, how? But doesn't matter. Yeah. We watched this a year ago.
Exactly. And it's despite the fact that they have beaten up on some teams that they should have beaten up on. But I mean, to go to Toronto, take 2 out of 3 from them, certainly that's impressive. And Toronto hasn't played maybe their best baseball yet, but that's still a team that's more than capable of taking a series from you, especially at home. And to recover from the opener, and then have the Schneeman performance. I mean, it's not like, if you go through their schedule here, it's not like, they've just beat up on a bunch of cupcakes and that's it. No, they've hung in there with some teams that are decent here.
Yeah, they're 7-8 against teams with winning records. I mean, they swept the White Sox and they swept the Pirates. Okay, fine. They took 3. I mean, maybe we need to put
everyone else is doing too. Yeah.
Yeah, but like they took 2 or 3 from the Yankees. Like I don't know what this team is. Like I can't say, well, they beat up on the bad teams and they can't beat the good teams. I don't know. Like they get hot and cold and they win games in unfathomable ways. So I think if you think you can just make a blanket statement about this team, like I think it's way too early to do that. I know nothing about them yet.
Yet? Maybe ever.
Maybe ever.
Maybe ever. Yeah, 20-14 for a team that we just don't really have a good feeling on yet. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Last year, they started the year and we were like, wow, yeah, they are. We kind of don't know how they're doing this, but they're having a great stretch and playing good baseball along the way to get to the record. And I don't have a similar thought about them playing really great baseball, but they're still here. And I think there's a gear. I kind of said this on Patreon. I think there's another gear here for this team. When we haven't even seen Jose really kick it in for a week or two, like we know that he can. No, I mean guys like Schneeman and Manzardo had a nice stretch, and Gabriel Arias, they've carried them at times. Like I'm waiting for the best players to then have the stretch where everyone else fades to the background and Jose just takes over for a week, and I think that's going to happen eventually.
Yeah, you're trying to decide to jump in the glass half full or the glass half empty bucket, and I think there are more good players who haven't played good yet than there are bad players who are just going to stay bad. What? Good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like the guys who are going to carry this team haven't really. Like Bybee can be better. I still think Williams is going to be better, and in the lineup, of course, outside of Kwan and Schneeman, who's playing well. Hey, do you think this is as good as Manzardo can be, even though he's carried them at times? No, I think there's more in there. And I think you've afforded yourself this like audition period for all these other guys. And eventually you move off of some of them and you get new guys. I mean, there are prospects waiting to come up, whether it's now or it's in 2 months. There are injured guys who will be joining you at some point. Like this team should be more of a force in July and August. So the fact that, and I feel like we've said this for 2 weeks now, the fact that it's not just treading water, they're on pace for 95 wins. And it's like, you know what the foundation of this team is, but it's all those guys around that core, and the core can still play better. That should have you encouraged, I think.
Yeah, I mean, even the closer of this team, If Clase can go 4-0 with 7 saves and a 5.87 ERA, how much better can he go when he doesn't give up any runs?
Can he get to 20 wins?
I think it was nice to see Cade Smith also come in and start throwing gas again, because in one of his previous outings, he had a 92 and a 93, and people go, uh-oh, he's overworking him, and then he comes in and hits 99 in this game. It's like, okay.
Yeah, no exchange rate there. He's at home in front of the fans. 99, pure gas.
Yeah. Brakes
Petrol.
optional. Sure. What do you say we come back later this week and do another Patreon show?
Will it still be called the Schneeman is Godcast? Or are we retiring that? Or is it up to him?
That's up to him. We didn't name this show. Selby is Godcast? We didn't do it. That was all Bill Selby.